Hello guys, my name's Colin and this is Colin Talks Crypto. The Bitcoin price has just rocketed past $18,000 in the past day. And we're going to talk about how it's passed its highest market cap in its entire history. We're also going to touch upon Bitcoin's rank as compared with other assets. Where do I think we're heading from here? We're going to talk about 0% on capital gains and have you thought about your exit strategy? And we're going to talk about Bitcoin in comparison to other assets. PayPal has enabled cryptocurrency purchases early, and Bitcoin is a guaranteed win in light of what I'm about to show you. Thank you for joining me. Bitcoin reached $18,393 in the past 24 hours, up from $16,733 just the day prior. Massive, massive gains. And I want to show you something that's really interesting here. So you're looking at the price chart for Bitcoin right now, and that's where we are. We're just under the previous all-time high of about $20,000. I think it was $19,950 or so. Now, the interesting thing is that if we look at the market cap, actually, what do we see here? We see that the market cap is $327 billion right now. And in 2017, we hit a high of approximately $324 billion. So how is it possible that while the price of Bitcoin right now is just below the all-time high, the total market cap could be over the all-time high? And this user summed it up really well. Jamie Redmond, he says, because of the 3 years of Bitcoin issuance, Bitcoin's market cap is higher today than where it was 3 years ago on December 17th, 2017, back when Bitcoin touched a high of $19,600 on Bitstamp. Today's $324 billion market valuation is the highest it has ever been in its entire lifetime. So we are setting record highs, guys. And for whatever reason, the media is completely asleep on this. We just broke all-time high market cap, and the frequency with which Bitcoin is being mentioned and talked about in the media is 9% of what it was during the previous all-time high. We're only getting about 9% of the media attention, yet we just broke the all-time high market cap. So right now, I would say that Bitcoin is extremely undervalued and extremely underappreciated. And some have speculated that it's actually institutional money that is onboarding itself right now, kind of like behind the scenes, rapidly before it hits the mainstream. Because I guarantee you, when we start seeing the Bitcoin Google search term approaching its previous all-time high and then surpassing it, that's when you have your grandma asking you how to buy Bitcoin, or your best friend says, hey, can you help me unlock that wallet I lost 4 years ago? That's when all these people start coming out of the woodwork. So the fact that we have a 9% Google search term compared with the fact that we just broke the all-time high for the market cap is very, very telling. Now, it's not to say that we're just going to skyrocket upward from here, and I do think that we have a major correction that's going to take place, and I'll get to that in a moment. But before I do that, I want to show you something else. This is asset-dash.com, and it compares the top assets by market cap. And I've covered this in a previous video, and you can see that all the big names are in the top positions. We have Apple, number 1, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, etc. These are all the top assets in the world today. And the last time I made a video, Bitcoin was ranked number 21 on this chart. And look at it today, guys, 17th place. It just rose 4 ranks up to 17th place with its $334 billion market cap. Guys, we are just getting started. Can you imagine when this 10x's yet again? We're going to be competing for the top position on this chart, the top asset class in the world. And here's the video just to show you where it was ranked 21. This was just 10 days ago on November 8th. So Bitcoin was ranked 21, and now on Asset Dash, it is ranked 17th place. And this user summed it up really well as to why I think we will also be seeing a big correction coming up. I mean, we've just seen a basically nonstop skyrocketing price. And so he says, just a friendly reminder that last time Bitcoin broke an all-time high, we had a 33% correction before making a 20x. And he includes this chart here. So you can see that right here is what he's talking about. We hit around $1,300 or so, and then it crashed all the way back down to about $900 before making a 20x all the way up to its all-time high of $20,000. So right now, I think we're kind of on this ramp right here. We just had a massive catapult upwards. It's not really realistic to expect that to continue indefinitely. Definitely not all the way to $100,000 or $200,000. There are going to be increasingly large price corrections, just like you see here. So it's not a straight shot, and you have to be tough. You have to have your iron grip holding hands to ride through these moments. And it's tricky because you don't know if this is the last peak you're ever going to see. So it's very tempting to want to sell after you've seen a massive surge upwards. I personally don't recommend trying to sell the peaks and buy the dips in a bull market because there's a very good chance that it moves so quickly that you actually miss out and you're left having sold, for example, right here when the price quickly surges upward right here. And I just don't want to personally miss those gains. If you want to play the high risk, high reward stakes, go for it, be my guest. None of this is financial advice. Make your own decisions. But just be expecting some massive pullbacks. We could see a pullback as high as 33%. So right now, if we have an $18,000 Bitcoin and we pulled back 33%, that could go under $12,000. I don't think it would stay there very long, but just be ready and prepared for the emotional impact as a trader to know that the Bitcoin price could drop down to below $12,000. It may be brief, and I think that it will shoot back up, but don't panic. That would be my advice. Now, when we do make all-time highs and we start approaching the next bull run peak, what is your guys' strategy? Do you have a strategy? And I want to read you something I wrote today. We are seeing some massive Bitcoin price moves. Will you ever take profits? Will you just hold for the rest of your life? Or will you sell high and buy back low? I think it's realistic to expect that some of us will sell, at least take profits, if not only to just buy back and get more Bitcoin when it's low. I can just tell you guys, I've already tried the hold the Bitcoin through the entire bull run, through the peak and the crash, and I'll tell you it's not very fun to lose all those profits. So even if you want to hold for life, hodl, it's still reasonable to take some profits and then rebuy in low on these massive, massive price moves. That's my strategy anyways. So I just want to pose this question to you guys. Have you thought of how you will mitigate your crypto capital gains taxes? I know I'm personally glad I took the time and effort to get 0% here in Puerto Rico. I did this about a year and a half ago, and I was setting myself up for this very bull run that we're in right now. The fact that I live in Puerto Rico is no accident. I am completely in control of my fate, and I made this decision very consciously because I know that there's a bull run coming, and I knew this years ago, as I've been telling you this entire time on my whole channel, basically. So I'm prepared. I'm set up. Every gain I make from this point forward is 0% taxed. And I think you should probably take the time to look at your tax situation. Do not ignore it, because unless you plan to just hold the rest of your life, which I think is a bit of a naive statement, then at some point you are going to incur taxes on your crypto. And if Bitcoin goes from $18,000, where it is now, to $100,000 or $200,000, and you decide to sell some or all of that cryptocurrency, your tax repercussions could be anywhere from 20% to 37%, depending on your income bracket and whether it was long-term or short-term. Not to mention the fact that if Biden is the president, that could go up even higher. So take the time and look at your crypto capital gains tax situation, guys. I'm telling you, you will shoot yourself in the foot if you ignore this. 30% or 40% taken out of your profits is an enormous deal breaker for anyone who holds or trades Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So just my advance warning to you guys. I've already been warning you about this in the past, but I want to make sure you're paying attention to this. If you're curious and you want to learn more about how you can get 0% taxes on your crypto capital gains, I encourage you to search my YouTube videos for the term Puerto Rico or type in 0% tax, and you will find the videos I've made on this. I made a 4 or 5 part series on my moving to Puerto Rico, through the whole process before I moved and after I moved and why I did it. And I tell you, I do not regret it one moment. You can also follow Nomad Capitalist on YouTube. He talks about other countries. You don't have to just stay in Puerto Rico. I did that so I can retain my US citizenship at the same time as getting 0%. It's really the only legal way to do that in America and retain your US citizenship. But you can also go to other countries. And there are many options around the world that have much better tax situations than America. Please don't let yourself get robbed of 20 to 37% of your gains from capital gains taxes in America. All right, guys. And Omar of Cryptos News made an awesome comment. He says, Bitcoin is an even better investment than real estate. He's just putting it in perspective here because there is always more land supply, even if you build vertically or even other planets. There's a limited amount of land physically out there. Plus, the housing bubble never popped. So you tell me which asset is cheaper, Bitcoin or real estate. And I can't agree more with Omar here. And I said, Bitcoin is one of the most finite assets there is. The finite nature of Bitcoin supply is underappreciated. It is more absolute than many people realize. I think it was more absolute than even I realize. I think of these other things like gold and silver, and they're supposed to be very limited, but they're not as limited as Bitcoin. And I said, you can find more gold, increased supply. You can find more land, increased supply. You cannot increase the supply of Bitcoin. So just some food for thought to really make you appreciate what we have here and to make sure you don't miss the boat. And it's fair what some of these maximalists say about the maximum supply of Bitcoin. If you invest in a lot of these other altcoins, whether it's Cardano, Tezos, EOS, Ripple, etc., there is one big flaw in my opinion. It's their design. They inflate their supply to pay for the overhead and to pay for the security of the network, but they're inflating the supply. And Bitcoin's issuance is very fixed. It ends in about 130 years from now. And at that point, I do believe that miner fees are going to more than pay for the security of the network from all the transaction fees. So Bitcoin has a fixed supply in place. And just, a point of reference, I'm not a maximalist by any means, but I do pay attention to the fact that almost every other cryptocurrency out there does not have a fixed supply. It has a proof of stake model, for example, has a constant inflation every single year to secure the network. It's a different model and there are trade-offs, but Bitcoin is one of the most finite assets there is. And recently, PayPal had the news that in early 2021, it was going to let all of its over 300 million users onboard themselves and buy cryptocurrency, as well as with Venmo. But they actually pulled the trigger earlier. You can already, as of a few days ago, buy cryptocurrency on PayPal. And I checked it out for myself. And I just wanted to share some screenshots of what the experience looks like if either you're not in America or you just haven't logged into PayPal. Here's what it looks like. So it says good morning and it says curious about crypto right on the front page. And then if you click on that, you'll see that it offers Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. And it has educational resources on the sidebar. It's very user-friendly. And if you click on one of those cryptocurrencies, it then opens up a price chart. And you can tell they're trying to be very friendly to the average user who may not understand this. And they say, here's the current estimated value of Bitcoin. And they point to it. It's very cute, really. You can buy a piece of it for as little as $1. So they're letting you know you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin, which is a very common misconception in the crypto space. So really commendable to PayPal for bridging the gap from this nerdy, technically advanced cryptocurrency that many of us got in early with because we are the nerd geek type, to your average mother, father, grandmother, non-crypto literate person. It's bridging the gap and making it really user-friendly. And they have these preset buttons down here to buy $20, $50, $100, or $500 of Bitcoin. Super, super easy. And the same goes for Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. And I want to step back and look at the bigger picture of Bitcoin. As Satoshi put in the Genesis block, Bitcoin is a direct response to the failures and abuses by central banks over the money supply of all these different countries. And people are the victims of this abuse. Every future president, regardless of political party, regardless of whether it's Trump or it's Biden, or it's Obama, or it's Hillary, or anyone in the future, regardless of the political party, will create a larger deficit than their predecessor. It's how our debt-based system is designed to work. You can't ever pay back the principal plus the interest. So with the old president, we had $3.1 trillion of deficit, and the new president, we have $4 trillion of deficit. It's going to continue. No president can pay that back. It is impossible. And if you don't understand how this works, it is by design, and I highly encourage you to watch the Hidden Secrets of Money series. I think it's about 8 volumes, but even just watch a couple of those volumes from Mike Maloney. Go to Mike Maloney's Gold Silver channel on YouTube and get yourself an education of the history of money, how it came to be, and how and why it is so utterly manipulated, and why it is impossible to pay back the deficit, and why every deficit for every president will be larger than the past. We cannot pay it back. It is impossible. And that is why Bitcoin exists. And lastly, guys, this is the media's take on Bitcoin. Let's just take a look. What did they say? How wrong have they been? You know, we just saw that they're not even interested currently. Bitcoin isn't even on the media's radar. We have 9% interest in the media right now compared to its all-time high before. But what has the media said in the past? CNN said when Bitcoin's price was $333 that Bitcoin was wrong. When Bitcoin was $131, Slate said that Bitcoin was fool's gold. Back when Bitcoin was $13, Wired magazine said Bitcoin was expired. Bloomberg, back when Bitcoin was $532, said Bitcoin spells doom. Back when Bitcoin was $208, USA Today said Bitcoin was an ash heap. Back when Bitcoin was $208, New York Times said Bitcoin was a disappointment. And look at Bitcoin today, guys. Over $18,000 per Bitcoin. Not saying it's not going to have a correction, but it's pretty clear that these guys were all wrong. Do not listen to the media when it comes to Bitcoin. They're going to jump on the bandwagon, and you'll see that when the search term for Bitcoin shoots up, but they're not on it yet, and that's when you want to sell, most likely. So we have seen over $18,000 price per Bitcoin and an all-time high market cap for Bitcoin. Never been seen in its entire last 11 years. We are over a $324 billion market cap with $327 billion. It's the 17th top performing asset in the world right now, and it's only going up from there. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you're as bullish as I am. Please smash that like button. It's the one thing I ask you to do. Please share this video, and please subscribe. Have a great day.